The camera pans across a quiet hospital room, where the weight of silence hangs heavy. Maddie Brown sits by her husband Caleb's side, her hand tightly holding his as doctors prepare for another round of tests. In the next few moments, the Brown family will face a heartbreaking revelation that could change everything. As Christine's relationship with Kody reaches its breaking point, Maddie's life with Caleb is turned upside down, leaving fans asking, will the Brown family survive these emotional crises? This isn't just a family divided. It's a family under fire. As one member battles for his life, another is facing a difficult truth, one that could tear apart everything they've worked for. But the question remains, what happens when everything you thought you knew about your family begins to unravel? Part 1. What you're about to witness is the unraveling of a family once built on a unique kind of love. But with each passing season, Christine's quiet discontent grew louder. Once, she was the heart of this polygamous family, but now, the emotional distance between her and Kody is impossible to ignore. But what caused this shift? Was it the weight of years of sacrifice, the pressure of their unconventional lifestyle, or something much deeper? It wasn't always like this. Christine and Kody, once inseparable, built a life together filled with love and laughter. But slowly, the cracks began to form. The smiles became fewer, the distance greater, and the connection, more fragile. The moment Christine realized something had changed was at Maddie's graduation party. What should have been a joyous occasion became the backdrop to an emotional revelation. Family tension simmered beneath the surface, and for the first time, Christine's eyes seemed to say it all. What was once a united front began to feel like a fragile facade. And Christine's behavior hinted at deeper issues: resentment, betrayal, perhaps a longing for something more. The tension didn't just start at Maddie's party. It had been brewing for months, years, maybe. From the move to a new state to the mounting personal sacrifices, Christine had silently shouldered it all. But as the years passed, something shifted inside her. Christine interview: I never imagined I'd feel this way. I thought I could handle it. But after all these years, I don't know who I am anymore. For years, Christine put the needs of her family first, but now, her emotional toll was taking a different shape. And the cracks that had formed between her and Kody couldn't be ignored any longer. The turning point came when Christine made the decision to leave. Not just physically, but emotionally. It was a moment of clarity, where she realized that the family she had worked so hard to build might not be the family she needed anymore. Christine's decision to move on was not one she made lightly. But in her heart, she knew it was the only way forward. And as she walked away from her marriage, she wasn't just leaving Kody, she was reclaiming her life. When news of Christine's departure broke, fans were left stunned. But what they didn't expect was the backlash. Many were left questioning her motives. Was she just seeking attention? Was there more to the story than we knew? And how did Kody react? Christine became the subject of heated debates. Some fans sided with her, praising her courage to stand up for herself. Others called her selfish, accusing her of abandoning her family at the most difficult time. But in the midst of it all, one thing was clear: the rift between Christine and Kody was no longer a secret. But as we sit here today, the story is far from over. Christine's journey is only just beginning. The real twist: her story might be the catalyst for a shift in how we view relationships, love, and the pursuit of happiness. As the dust settles, One thing is certain. Christine is no longer defined by her past or her marriage. She is reclaiming her power, and what happens next could be the ultimate lesson in personal growth. Now, we want to hear from you. What do you think about Christine's decision? Do you believe she made the right choice, or should she have stayed and worked things out? Let us know in the comments below. Part 2. For years, Maddie Brown has been a familiar face in the Brown family saga. Her relationship with Caleb has been the subject of admiration and inspiration for many. Together, they've faced challenges, celebrated milestones, and shared their journey with fans. But behind the smiles and the joyful moments, there have been unseen struggles no one could have prepared them for. And now, that struggle has reached a heartbreaking new level. The couple's love story, full of promise and joy, is now being tested in ways neither of them could have predicted. Caleb, always the strong and steady presence in Maddie's life, is now the one fighting for his own. It all began with a sudden, unexplained health crisis. Caleb, who had been healthy and strong, began feeling ill, and what initially seemed like a minor issue quickly spiraled into something much more serious. Caleb lying in a hospital bed, connected to machines, Maddie sitting next to him, her hand resting on his arm. The doctors weren't sure at first. Was it something treatable, or was it a sign of something far more dangerous? As Caleb's condition worsened, Maddie and the entire Brown family were thrown into an emotional whirlwind. The uncertainty was unbearable, and Maddie found herself torn between hope and fear. She knew that things were serious, but she wasn't prepared for how quickly everything would change. The weight of the moment was captured in a powerful update Maddie shared with her followers. Standing beside Caleb, her voice filled with emotion, she told her followers what was happening and what it meant for their future. "Maddie, I don't know how to say this, but Caleb's condition isn't improving. We need all your prayers and positive thoughts right now. I know this is hard, but we're taking it one day at a time." The raw vulnerability in her message left fans heartbroken and filled with empathy. The Brown family has always been open about their lives, but this moment was different. This was the kind of pain that couldn't be hidden behind cameras or carefully curated posts. The news spread quickly, with fans from around the world pouring their hearts out in the comments, sharing their prayers and support for Maddie and Caleb. It was clear that their bond with the Brown family wasn't just about the drama, it was about real people facing real challenges. But as much as the love and support flooded in, there were some fans who couldn't help but question the family's decision to share such a personal moment. Was this something that should have stayed private, or was it important for the world to see? As days passed, Caleb's condition remained uncertain. One moment, there was a glimmer of hope, and the next, they were back to square one. Maddie's emotional toll began to show. She had always been the strong one, but now, even she was struggling to keep it together. Maddie was facing not only the fear of losing her husband but also the weight of holding her family together. The burden was heavy, but it was clear that no matter what happened, she was not going to give up on Caleb. But in the final twist of the story, just when everyone thought they knew what was happening, an unexpected revelation came to light. Caleb's condition was not as it seemed. There was a diagnosis no one had anticipated, a possibility no one dared to consider. The medical team had misdiagnosed Caleb's condition. It wasn't what they thought at all. And with the new treatment plan, there was a chance that Caleb might make a full recovery. But the emotional rollercoaster had only just begun. What do you think about Caleb's health scare? Do you think Maddie made the right decision in sharing her story? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's deep dive in full details. Part 3. To understand what's happening now, we must first look back at the complexities that have defined the Brown family for years. Christine and Kody's relationship was once the epitome of unity in a family that prided itself on unconventional bonds. But beneath the surface, cracks were forming. Christine's decision to walk away from Kody was a shocking turn. The once solid foundation of their polygamous marriage had slowly eroded, and for Christine, the emotional toll of years of sacrifice became unbearable. She knew it was time to make a change, despite the love she still held for her children and, in some ways, Kody. But what Christine didn't know was that her emotional journey would soon collide with a crisis far greater than her own. Just as Christine's heartache unfolds, Maddie faces a life-altering challenge of her own. Caleb, her husband, had always been a picture of health, strong, dependable, and unwavering. But one morning, everything changed. What seemed like a simple ailment quickly spiraled into something much more dangerous, leaving Maddie clinging to a hope she never thought she'd need. The life they had built together suddenly hung in the balance. Doctors couldn't pinpoint the cause. One diagnosis after another left the family in a state of emotional paralysis. The uncertainty of Caleb's condition wasn't just a medical mystery, it was a heart-wrenching test of strength, both for Caleb and for Maddie. In an emotional update that left fans speechless, Maddie shared a raw, unfiltered glimpse of what she was going through. Standing at Caleb's side, her voice cracked as she revealed the gravity of the situation. "Maddie, I never imagined I'd be standing here, asking for your prayers for Caleb. But right now, we need you more than ever. Please keep us in your hearts. We're fighting, but I'm scared." This moment wasn't just a call for support. It was a deep cry for help from a woman who had always been a pillar of strength, now at the mercy of something she couldn't control. In times of crisis, we often see the true colors of a family. The Brown family, though divided by personal struggles, rallied behind Maddie. Christine, even in the wake of her own painful departure from Kody, felt the pull of family duty. Despite her own turmoil, she reached out to support her daughter. The family, though fractured, came together in ways that were both expected and unexpected. Even Kody, who had been emotionally distant from Christine, expressed concern for Maddie's well-being. It was a moment that proved, no matter the drama, love still held them together. As the days passed, a new revelation emerged. Just when it seemed like the worst had passed, doctors confirmed what no one had expected. Caleb's illness wasn't caused by anything they'd initially feared. The truth was far more complex, and more treatable, than anyone had imagined. The new treatment plan gave Caleb a fighting chance. It wasn't an easy road ahead, but for Maddie, it was the lifeline she had been desperately waiting for. This was the twist, the hope they so desperately needed had finally arrived. The story of the Brown family's journey through crisis is not just one of heartbreak, it's one of resilience. Through the pain, through the fear, through the uncertainty, they found strength. Maddie and Caleb's love story is far from over, and so is Christine's journey. Christine may have walked away from Kody, but she hasn't walked away from her family. And in the darkest times, they learned what really matters: family, love, and the power of coming together when it matters most. Before the hospital room, before the emotional updates, before the crisis, there was a love story. Maddie and Caleb's bond wasn't just about shared moments on screen, it was built on years of growing together. They met years ago, when Caleb first entered the Brown family's life, and what seemed like a simple relationship blossomed into something much deeper. They were inseparable from the start. Despite the challenges of being in a polygamous family, Maddie and Caleb found solace in each other. Their connection wasn't defined by just their shared experiences. It was built on mutual respect, shared dreams, and a love for adventure. Maddie: when I first met Caleb, I didn't know how our lives would intertwine, but he became my partner in every sense of the word. He's always been there for me in ways I never imagined. But as their love deepened, so did the responsibilities and challenges that came with being part of a larger family. And now, as Maddie faces the most difficult test of her life, she finds herself clinging to the love they built together, fighting for the man who's always been her rock. Christine and Kody's relationship hasn't been simple. Over the years, fans have watched their connection evolve, and ultimately unravel. What once seemed like a harmonious partnership began to show signs of strain as Christine grew weary of Kody's divided attention, not just between her and his other wives, but between the life they were building and the needs of the family. For years, Christine held her marriage together with grace, often putting the needs of others above her own. But over time, the cracks began to show. There were unspoken frustrations, hurtful words, and unaddressed emotions. And eventually, it became clear that Christine couldn't continue down this path. Christine: it was like I was invisible at times. It wasn't just about the marriage, it was about my happiness. I had to make a decision, even if it meant walking away. Christine's decision to walk away from Kody was both heart-wrenching and liberating. And while fans still debate whether it was the right choice, there's no denying the emotional toll it took on both of them. The path to Caleb's diagnosis was anything but straightforward. What began as simple fatigue, then turned into an unexplained illness, had everyone on edge. The doctors ran test after test, and each time the results only raised more questions. The waiting was unbearable. Every new test, every doctor's visit, led to more uncertainty. Was it something treatable, or was this the beginning of a much darker chapter for Caleb? It wasn't just Caleb's health that hung in the balance, it was Maddie's world. The future they had built together, the family they planned for, all of it was now uncertain. And in those moments of waiting, Maddie found herself questioning everything: her faith, her strength, and their future together. Maddie's heartfelt update to fans wasn't just a message, it was a cry for help. Standing beside Caleb in his hospital room, her voice cracked as she spoke to a world that had followed their every step. Maddie: I'm struggling, but I'm holding on to the hope that we can get through this. Caleb's health: it's unpredictable right now, and it's terrifying. But I need all your prayers and support, more than ever. I can't do this alone. The vulnerability in Maddie's voice captured the hearts of her fans. It was a moment of raw emotion, a side of the Browns that fans rarely see. The emotional depth of the message left no one untouched. The public's response was intense. While many offered prayers, support, and love, there were others who felt the Browns had opened up too much, sharing too many intimate details of their lives. Fans took to Reddit, Facebook, and Instagram, discussing the Brown family's decision to air such private moments. Some believed it was a cathartic release, while others questioned whether it was appropriate to expose such a personal crisis for public consumption. Reddit comments: "It's heartbreaking to see them go through this, but I admire their strength. Shouldn't this be kept private? Why share this with the world?" While the backlash was hard to ignore, the outpouring of love was undeniable. It was clear that despite their personal struggles, the Browns still held a place in the hearts of millions. Just as Maddie's update left the family and fans reeling, a breakthrough arrived. Caleb's condition, which had seemed so dire, was finally explained. What was once believed to be an irreversible illness turned out to be something far more manageable. The relief was palpable. Caleb's condition wasn't as grave as they had feared. A new treatment plan had given him a fighting chance. While the road to recovery wouldn't be easy, there was now hope. After weeks of uncertainty, Maddie and Caleb's path forward looked brighter. It wasn't just Caleb's physical recovery that would take time, it was the emotional healing that lay ahead for the family. "Maddie, this experience has changed me in ways I can't even explain. It made me realize how fragile life is, and how precious love truly is. I'm not just fighting for Caleb. I'm fighting for our future together. For Christine, for Maddie, and for the entire Brown family, the journey is far from over. The road ahead is filled with challenges, but it's also filled with love, hope, and the unwavering bond of family." What do you think of Maddie and Caleb's journey? Do you believe the Brown family's struggles have made them stronger, or are they still unraveling? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more updates on the Brown family's ongoing journey.